So how is it different leading off than batting second? Do you approach it differently?
No, I don't. We had a conversation today, Coach Forbes and Coach Weirs and I, about it. They were like, don't change anything, but we think this kind of gives us the best chance to score runs, and I was all for it. So kind of whatever helped to the team win, I'm all for it. So.
But you hadn't been there that much since the first 8 games of the season.
Yeah, I think it was like 9 games I was there before. But yeah, I mean, comfortable. So.
And our first pitch just went to town right off the bat.
Yeah.
So.
In the outfield, the kind of outfield instincts you have, how did you develop those?
Yeah. I think they're just baseball instincts. I wouldn't really specify them as outfield specifically. Just got out there like freshman year and just kind of got under Coach, or I guess Angel and Mikey, and then Coach Howell did a great job for the first 2 years. And now Coach Riley's doing the same thing. So just learning every day, and just kind of having those baseball instincts, as a young kid.
What kind of goes through your mind when you see a ball that could be hit, not just to center, but you cover a whole swath of rim? What's kind of going through your mind?
Yeah, just initial step. That's kind of the biggest thing. Try to be in a good spot pre-pitch to be able to get that good first step, and then just use your speed and just go. And I'm kind of always on go out there, and just if I can get to it, I'm gonna try. And I kind of especially at home, I feel like we do a lot of like outfield work, wall work and stuff like that. So you have a pretty good gauge where you can get to.
Do you have any specific drills or things to practice your speed, both for on the base pass and in the outfield?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it's like just kind of like weight training and like speed and agility stuff. Just whenever I first got here, my like 10-yard split was pretty slow. So kind of working on that to get like faster, like off the jump, would be one thing. And then just like we do a lot of like no glove stuff in the outfield, just to kind of work on hands and those things like that. But at the end of the day, just kind of get out there and be an athlete.
In terms of talking about positions in the lineup, it feels like Madera's probably had the most spots in the lineup just over the course of the season. Just despite no matter where he's at, just how much stability does he really bring to you guys? Although he might not be the flashiest name, maybe.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Mikey Madey my freshman year. Kind of flip it over, got speed, gets on base a lot, and has really good bat to ball. So I think having him kind of in that 6th spot, like Coach Forbes was talking about this morning, is big, just to kind of set the table and turn it over a little bit.
Sorry, Coach said on Monday, we asked him who would win in a race, you or D'Onofrio, and he said it's you, no question. And then said, he might even be able to beat Trey Turner. Do you think you can beat Trey Turner?
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
That is talking about in the outfield. What's the toughest ball for you to handle? A lot of times people say someone hits straight at you, straight over your head. Just what gives you difficulty out there, if anything?
Probably the low liner about head high that's just smoked. That's the hardest ball to read, and that's what I spent a ton of time on. Just because at first I wasn't very good at it, and instead of making an initial read, kind of just stand still and just like see it for a little bit longer, because normally those balls they're not going to leave the yard whenever they're hit that low. So try to see it as long as you can and then make that move.
When was the last time you threw somebody out at second base on the force?
I don't think I have. I think there's been a couple times I've tried, but I think that's the first one in college.
What type of bat do you swing?
The Omaha from 2022.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. One question.
How's it going? Nice job, my man. Congratulations, man.
Congratulations. It was one of your best outings in quite a while. What was going well for you?
I don't know, just feeling well. You obviously getting out there, first start in a while, or since last week, first time I really went out there and been extended. So, it definitely helps when you get guys in the lineup that can put up a big 8 spot for you in the first inning. Our team's just capable of doing that. So, with the guys that we got in the lineup, it's very easy to pitch to them or to the other team. I feel like, I can, whether I'm struggling or I make mistakes over the plate, I got guys behind me that can make a lot of plays, and just our hitting ability in 1 through 9. I feel like with our lineup, it's very easy to pitch for this team. So,
what about bases loaded and you got that guy struck at that guy looking? What was your mentality there with the bases loaded?
Yeah, obviously there, 3-2, went slider and got him out with a strikeout. That's just a big pitch. You're gonna have to make in big moments. So just trying to slow the game down, realize that all I need here is I'm one pitch away from getting out of the inning, and just trusting that my guys behind me can get the job done just as well as I can with the strikeout. So just having the confidence there and the conviction to get the pitch to the zone, and what happened. I'm glad I struck him out.
Coach Forbes has kind of talked about trying to get the fourth and fifth starter there and put you out there today, and you go long. I mean, just as far as confidence wise, where are you?
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of confidence in myself. Obviously, I feel like I have more confidence in myself than anybody. But just being able to, like I said, we got a great defense. We got a great group of guys. Going out there and throwing for this team is very easy when you got guys behind you that can make incredible plays. So my confidence is really high, especially coming off of last year. I feel like I did a really good job as a freshman of throwing in big moments. So if they tell me I got the ball, I'm just going to go out there and try to do my best to help this team win. So confidence level really high. Just just going out there and executing really.
How hard is it to sit for that long during that bottom of the first?
Obviously it's not ideal. Just trying to make sure to keep your body loose. It's nothing you can really control. So I think it just takes, it's part of the game, part of it, just being an athlete, being able to overcome it. It's the same thing about we're playing a team and somebody's shoving and the guy on the 7-hole hasn't got a AB in 2 innings. So, it kind of goes just vice versa, just keeping your body loose, staying mobile.
How have you seen your game evolve from last season to this year?
I'll say the biggest thing is just like slowing down. I feel like last year as a freshman getting put into situations throwing, it's very easy to let the moment get to you and speed things up. So, being able to just take a breath and slow things down and, I guess lock in a little bit more. I guess that's probably the biggest thing, working on my delivery on the mound. I think probably my biggest thing is just being able to slow the game down, and know that my coaches have confidence in me. And I think that's just a big part of maturing and getting older and playing more games and having more experience.
Do you do anything in specific pregame or when you're on the mound to kind of lock into that state?
Definitely I feel like everybody says it as cliche as it sounds, just like breathing. Taking a step to realize that at the end of the day it is just a game, no matter how hard that you are competing and how hard you want to win. So just taking a second to relax, get a good breath out and go out there and just make sure your body's loose, not getting super tight. So I feel like being able to get my breath out in between pitches and, just taking a more relaxed approach to the game rather than just being way too amped up, which is not a bad thing, but just like knowing the line of overdoing it, if that makes sense.
Go ahead.
Pretty comfortably sitting there at 94 all night, really, it felt like. Just where do you feel like kind of your stuff is at this point? And it's also physically, just where do you feel like you are kind of heading into the exam break a little bit?
Physically, I feel great. I think coming off of last year, my velo's been going up a lot, and kudos to that, just the coaches and the coaching staff, and the things that got us working on in practice and just getting after it. So naturally, as you get stronger and as you get older and you get more experience out there, your velo's going to jump. So I think right now, like physically, I feel like I haven't touched what I can yet. I feel like I haven't hit that peak. It's getting to the point where I'm getting extended, just making sure that I'm conditioned to where I can, be able to sit as high as that on all 3 pitches and keep my velo up. So, just a lot of that goes to the coaches and what they have us doing in practice and just conditioning, really. But I don't think that I'm necessarily at my roof yet. There's a lot to unlock, so we'll just see how the season pans out.
Is there a story behind the fighter tattoo?
That's what I was
What is that?
Oh, yeah. You guys have probably heard the story of Parker Bird over at ECU, lost his leg in a boating accident. So, we played showcase ball together for 4 years in high school. We got real close. That's my brother. And it's hard seeing somebody like that does everything right and, has something so tragic like that happen, going into his freshman year of college, which arguably being a guy that probably would have started for the Pirates as a true freshman. He's always been there for me and, all the boys that played with us. We have a really good relationship, they're family. So, it's just a tribute to him, just being able to understand that, I'm lucky that I haven't been put in a situation where, a game or my time on the field has been taken away from me. as everyone's praying for him, and obviously he's getting it back in and moving. It's just something that I put on my arm because I felt like it meant a lot to me. And that's my brother. So.
Did you wear number 16? I guess.
Yeah. So it's like that was the kind of like when it first happened initially. We had all got the news that he was in the hospital and he had gotten that accident. It was like a fighter, and like he wears 16, so it was kind of just like his little. It was our little like I guess hashtag or something for him. So just a lot of support there.
Nice.
What's that perspective do for a young guy? Like all your former teammates were those guys. It's kind of a dose of reality early.
Yeah, definitely. As much as as much as you grow up and you hear from your parents and coaches and stuff that nothing's guaranteed and time moves fast. Having somebody that close to you, having something affect like that, or getting into an accident like that and taking an effect where it affects him and he's off the field for a while, just puts into perspective of you just gotta appreciate every day and really get after it because you never know when that you could wake up tomorrow and something could happen. You can get in a car wreck tomorrow. You never know. So it just puts into perspective that you just got to go out there every day and give it your all and have fun and just, you can't think about tomorrow, if that makes sense. So, I think it's sad as it is, obviously. Sucks for somebody that this should not have happened to. I think it's a big learning lesson, and, he's taken it better than anybody that I could imagine. If we're going to be honest, I can't say that I would handle it as well as he does. So, just being able to realize that not everybody has the opportunity that you have, and just take got to make the most of it.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks.
All right, thank y'all.
Really good.
Sorry, guys.
I hate to interrupt your dinner.
I didn't see you.
What are you eating for dinner?
Yeah, let me record the code here. Jeff, just
Sandwiches. If I have them all in my teeth now, I'm starving.
So we're going.
And then my daughter, that's my daughter's horn. So I know it's her that's texting me. She told me to park on the side of the road because she has to get up early and go to FCA tomorrow. Anyway.
Congratulations on being a groomsman, first of all.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was cool. Y'all go ahead.
leading off, Vance, is this something that you're just toying with, or is this something you're going to stick with for the long term?
Probably going to stick with it. I've been thinking about it a lot, how to have those three guys somewhere in the top three, but also have D'Onofrio and Osuna in the top five. I really like the idea of having Madera in the 6-hole, kind of like we put Madej in there in 2022. You know, distributing the speed a little bit more. And I just kept going back in my mind. Honestly, I would lay down at night and be like, who do you want to, because that's kind of how my brain works. I'm always thinking about the next game or how to get better. Who would I not want to face to start the game as a pitching coach? And it's Vance Honeycutt, because I know if he gets on, he can steal, and then you got a guy like Casey Cook. So I think most likely I'll stick with it. I feel pretty good about it because we go right, left throughout the whole thing. And it worked out tonight, thankfully.
He hit the first pitch?
Yeah, no doubt. We talked about it this morning, the ACC network, and I said, well, either Madera or D'Onofrio will lead off, and then I sat down with Weirs and was like, man, I keep wanting to lead off Honeycutt, and he was like, well, let's just do it. So we just did it.
He said you had a conversation with him about not changing his approach.
Yeah, I just brought him up because I trust Vance so much. I said, how do you feel about leading off? And he said, Coach, whatever you feel like is best is what I will do. But I told him I didn't want you to necessarily, just because the count goes 3-1 or 2-0, or don't try to work a walk. Like, just be who you are. Because when he's at his best, he's on the fastball and he's ready to hit. And then he'll still walk if he happens to walk. So I wanted to make sure he knew that, and it's really just one time a game.
And when did you have this conversation with him?
Probably about 12 o'clock. I just texted him, said, are you at the stadium? And I was trying to decide if I was going to do it or not. And after I met with him, I was like, I'm definitely going to do it.
Do you say, like, report to my office? Like,
I just said no. I said, are you here? I said, are you out of class first? And he said, yes. I said, are you at the box? He said, yes. I said, well, come up to my office. And Vance knows he ain't in trouble. So, yeah, I just felt like, I just kind of been thinking, like, I don't know, it's because I'm a big Braves fan, and they go Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna. And in my mind, I'm like, that obviously we don't have. I mean, Matt Olson's like, D'Onofrio is not Matt Olson, but he is left-handed. He can run, distributes the speed. And I really like Madera. I was like, how can I get Madera in that 6-hole? And you can't have him in the 6-hole if you lead him off. And I'd rather D'Onofrio be in a little lower spot where he is more in an RBI spot.
So Madera and Stevenson kind of switched off where they have been most of the season. Is that also something you plan to stick with?
I might, because I like Madera with that speed. If he's on base, then we can do some different things. Gavin has been one of our best pure hitters throughout the whole season. And then obviously if Steve, he's got the power, if Gavin or Steve hit a double, or if all of a sudden Madera's over there at third base for some reason and, we've got first and third with Colby, I also can safety squeeze, that type of thing. I like that speed in that 6-hole.
Gavin at third, if my memory serves, he had probably a 60-yard throw over there. What have you seen from him growth-wise?
Just he's understanding that he has to work as hard over there as he does back there in the cages. And I told him, I said, if you don't want to be taken out, you got to get better at third, or I'm going to put somebody else in there innings 8 and 9. And, Gavin's the type of kid that's going to take that coaching in the right way and keep working on it. And that's the key is, can he make that backhand throw and have the arm strength, and he's starting to show that he can do it. He is a baseball player. You saw that play at first where he just slid. That's a reaction play, and he's always kind of shown that when we recruited him. But that's the hardest position to play. He's gotten better at it.
And then Padgett, he pitched a couple 3-inning relief stints, and then really extends today and pitches some of the best you've seen from him, right?
Yeah, I thought he held his stuff. His last start, Gardner-Webb, he lost a little bit of his control in the third. But I thought he got better today. I didn't think he was really sharp early, but he got better each inning, which was good to see. So we need another guy that we can extend. We're starting Peterson tomorrow, which will be fun to see how he does, because he could, he started the year as a starter. But both those guys can help us in a role in some way, shape, or form if we need them.
How important do you think it was for Padgett to get out of that bases loaded jam?
That's how you stay in the game. That guy hits a double down the line, or you're one swing away too. But the players don't think like the coaches do. That guy hits a grand slam, it's 8-4, just like that. So that's what I'm thinking. And Coach Gaines' credit, calling pitches, he did the same thing I did, because I would have done. That kid's got the most power on the team. I don't care if we walk him and it's 8-1. I'd rather be 8-1 than 8-4 and get the next guy out and it's still 8-1. But credit to him, because he threw a 3-2 slider and he threw a great pitch. That guy was obviously looking for a fastball.
You touched on Madera. As good as he's been all year, I think he's hit safely now 11 the last 12, 7 multi-hit games in that span. How important just kind of that stability that he really kind of brings to this lineup. Obviously, a lot of stability.
That's why I love him in that 6-hole. He's not quite as aggressive as I want him to be at stealing bases either. So he has the speed down there. But really, what really balanced our lineup, and I go back to him today, was having a guy, because you got those power guys, and sometimes a power guy might strike out. But then you have a lefty between Alberto and Gavin that's hard to strike out, that can run, that moves the ball, and it gets a hit a game. So that puts more pressure on the defense throughout the whole order. Originally we had Harbor and Osuna 4 or 5, but the more I looked at it, the more I didn't like that. So we just went to this lineup.
When you get up, last question, when you get up 8-0, we talked about maturity a lot. Do you say anything to the guys, stay focused and all that, or do you let your guys just lead it?
You know what, this time of year, historically for us, it's go time. You're playing, there's basically different situations, right? We've been in them all in North Carolina for the most part. Thankfully, we've been in a good position where you're really trying to solidify potential host or solidify a national seed. But we've also been in a position where we got to win this game because we're on the bubble, like in 22, like every game. So those guys that have been through that, they know what our philosophy is. And it's, historically, it's not the best day to play us when it's the last day of class, because that is a little bit of a celebration for our guys. And then they get to sleep.
Sorry, Robbie.
They get to sleep in tomorrow. They're reading day. So they know this time of year that staying focused, I don't need to tell them that. And the respect they have for one another too, of, okay, we want to get everybody in the game if possible. And the better we play, you can get some arms in there potentially that haven't pitched in a while. I guess that's the negative of a 10-run rule. because Olin Johnson was getting ready to come in the game. But the positive is when you're ahead like that, you get some guys, because you're always one injury away. You get Haskin behind the plate, you got Vandy in there having it bat, you got Johnny having it bat, Dixon, Alvarez, so that's a good thing.
When you talk about kind of being in these different spots just over your entire tenure, when it comes to May,
Yeah.
how much does it help with this team where you do have, a lot of guys still left over from your first season as head coach when you're fighting to get in, some other ones who been starting super regionals, as well as some guys who haven't even tasted the postseason in their careers because of where they're coming from?
Yeah, it's a great mix because we're playing 2 freshmen, so they're just freshmen. And the transfers, like D'Onofrio, he's dying to play in the postseason. Like that's why he wanted to come to a school like North Carolina. And then Parks Harbor's been in the postseason. He's played in the SEC, but he hasn't been to Omaha. And then we have a lot of returners that lost to Arkansas at home in a super regional, and they got that taste of being so close. Even though they won that ACC championship, they want to get back in that spot. So they're, telling all these guys, like, here's how we get there. So it's a great mix. And it makes me feel good because we've got guys that, if we do get to that point, hopefully they've been in regionals, they've been in the big games, and, I got to trust them when we get to it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Coach.
You wearing pretty uniforms?